The president signing an order to reduce the size of the federal government. Trump speaking alongside billionaire Elon Musk as the president's efforts to reshape the government faces pushback from judges and lawmakers across this country. Our Rachel Scott was able to question Musk at the White House earlier. Take a listen.
The White House says that you will identify and excuse yourself from any conflicts of interest that you may have. Does that mean that you are in effect policing yourself? What are the checks and balances that are in place to ensure that there is accountability and transparency?
No.
Well, we actually are trying to be as transparent as possible. In fact, we post our actions to the Doge handle on X and to the Doge website. So all of our actions are maximally transparent. In fact, I don't think there's been, I don't know of a case where an organization has been more transparent than the Doge organization.
All right. She also went on to ask him, Christian, specifically about how he's looking into the Pentagon. We know that he has several Pentagon contracts, especially with SpaceX. But again, he reiterated what he believes is his efforts, and he thinks they're quite successful in being transparent. And also, he doesn't think it's a conflict of interest.
The transparency piece, I think, is the most interesting, personally, because saying that, of course we are being transparent, look at everything that we're posting. Well, who is posting that is the question. I mean, we can all be transparent, right, Kana, if we just share the actions that we want to share. So there's a lot of questions that continue need to be asked there, and Rachel certainly pressed him to try to get that out of him, and particularly pointing to, well, it's one thing, to just talk about what you're going to do or what your actions are, but then to also have a vested interest in the results is another. So big questions that are being posed in this very first press conference availability from Elon Musk.
Certainly, and he also said that if you see a deal with SpaceX that is not the best value for the taxpayer, let me know here. But again, he pointed the finger right there at SpaceX, which we know he is responsible for. But also, let's talk a little bit about this executive order that was signed. Right, this is the idea here to significantly reduce the size of government, and this will be in lockstep with Doge, as they call it, Workforce Optimization Initiative.
So it sounds like what this is essentially trying to do is make a clear path to reduce the federal workforce. And he threw out a lot of numbers, the $300 billion that was spent in 2022, and that's minus pensions on the federal workforce, and also just the 2.2, I believe is the number that he put out, 2 million roughly federal workers that we have minus active duty military. So that has been a really strong part of his message in this Department of Government Efficiency poll, and you're starting to see a little bit of what their plan is to try to make this more integrated in different departments. And so listing out that agencies will have agency heads consult with Doge, whether, these are all questions that are yet to be answered as to how that partnership will work, how willing some agency heads would be to share certain information. We've seen some of that play out in the courts already. And then when we talk about the workforce overall, there's a hiring freeze that was implemented on day one. Once that is lifted, Doge is saying that in order to reduce the unnecessary footprint of the government after the hiring freeze, only one employee should be hired for every 4 departures. A lot of shaking up happening, to say the least. Kana.
No question. He said they'll undertake plans for large-scale reductions in force and determine which agency components might be eliminated or perhaps even combined. So it seems like there's still a lot to be learned from all